backwards. Okay, is this thing on? Is this thing on, you guys? This is my first live, so you got to tell me if you can hear me because I'm trying my mic and I'm hoping that it works. Anybody see me come on live? So there's a reason why I'm on live today and you're not getting an edited video, and that's because I've been crazy busy and I didn't get one turned in. So that's the main reason that I am live right now. But I have a really good topic. And if this is your first time to the channel, I am Elizabeth Oliva. This is the Fort Worth Home Tours. We get calls and texts from people just like you every single day looking to make a move to the Fort Worth area. So whether you're moving in 8 days, 8 weeks, 8 months, or 8 years, I'm going to be here. And you can give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email, or book a Zoom. I have details of how to do that below in the description. We can connect. We can see how we can help you make a smooth move here. And if you already live here and you are in the area and need to sell a home, I can help you do that as well. I can help you sell the home to buy or buy to sell, either way. So I can help you with all of that. So let's get into today's topic on my very first live. So if any of you saw the title is What Could Possibly Go Wrong? Okay. Let me see if I can put my mic on me. And I hope that you guys can hear me. I hope that this is on. Okay, so what could possibly go wrong? So, what I'm going to talk about today are some of the things I've seen in the 8 years of real estate that have gone wrong and how we have handled it. Oh, I see a comment. What areas are best to buy investment property in North or South Fort Worth areas? What price point? What price point are you looking for? And as is MR Chirka, yeah. What is the price point? Because that matters as to what part of town. And are you looking to flip it? Are you looking to buy and hold and rent? Under 350. Hmm. You said north or south? I think there are areas of both. I think you could do either area. Turnkey single family. Okay, to buy to rent. Um, get with me, contact me. You can call me at 817-925-5898. You can book a Zoom on my Calendly link, calendly.com / Elizabeth Oliva. And we can talk because I have a lot of questions for you and I probably won't be able. Can you hear me? That's a good one. Can you hear me, Amar Chirka? I obviously, because you're asking me questions. So just want to make sure how I didn't even know how to test my mic on this, but I'm going to figure it out. So yeah, let's definitely get together. I would love to give you more accurate information on what you're looking for, but I need to ask you several questions to do that. So, all right. So what could possibly go wrong? Okay, I'm going to give you a scenario, and I want to know if you think this is a big deal or not. So sure. Even though the title company cannot disperse the funds to the seller once they've sold and we've done the paperwork until Monday, sure, we'll go ahead and let the buyers move into the property. We're going to sign, our sellers are going to sign on Saturday, and the buyers want to move in on Sunday. And so, should they do that? Should they not do that? Well, I asked my local title company, and they had a story for me about that. What do you guys think? Yes, you can hear me. Thank you so much for letting me know because I wasn't sure. Am I coming in loud and clear? Does it sound good? Let me know if it sounds good. Um, and so this situation came up, and so the title company gave me a story. So had sellers that said, "Yeah, sure, we're going to sign, and everything won't be completely done. They won't be able to totally fund and disperse funds until Monday, but yeah, go ahead, start moving in. We got all our stuff out." Okay. So the buyers started to do that. They moved in a lawnmower, they moved in a gas grill into the garage. If you know where this is going, let me know. So guess what? The house caught on fire. House caught on fire. Who had to pay for that? Whose responsibility was it? Since it caught on fire before the actual closing and funding and disbursement of funds had happened with the deal. Well, unfortunately, the sellers were responsible. Sellers were responsible because the actual defining moment, okay, is not just signing of the documents. It is closing and funding by the title company and funding by the lending company, and then disbursement of the funds, meaning the seller is getting paid so the title conveys, and insurance is involved when this happens. So the insurance company says that the seller is still on the hook if the funds have not been dispersed. So talk about a nightmare situation. I mean, that's can't even imagine. Okay. So when they told me that, I said, absolutely, our sellers are not going to let the buyers come in until we can disperse. So what do? We moved the closing just a couple of days before that so that sellers can close during the week. Buyers can also, or sellers can sign during the week. Buyers can sign during the week. Title can disperse the funds before the end of the week. And guess what? Then we're all done. And title conveys, property, the possession can go to the buyer, and everybody's cool. Insurance is cool. Everything's great. So that is what possibly could go wrong. That went wrong in a big, big way. So that's one of my first situations. So tell me what you think about that. If you've heard anything crazier than that. And there are so many crazy stories in real estate. I can't even tell you. So here's another one, and this is, I do a lot of new construction on my channel. So here's one with a new build situation. Oh yeah, your home will fit on that lot. Here are two corner lots, and we picked out the floor plan. Here are two available corner lots. I want you to go choose your lot. Which one do you like better? Yeah, your home will fit on it. No problem. So my buyer chose the lot that she wanted. And then the builder a couple days later said, "Oh, sorry, your home is not going to fit on that lot." What? What? So actually, in their contract, it does say if this happens, that they have an out. The builder has an out. The thing to know about builder contracts is they are in favor of the builder. Okay. Read them carefully. If you're not sure what they mean or how to interpret them, get legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I cannot give you legal advice, but I would advise you to talk to someone in that area if you're not sure what it means. If you're not sure about if this, then that in a contract, definitely get legal advice. But the main thing is, I read through it and it did say, if perchance we accidentally cannot put you on that lot, we'll choose another lot. Well, my buyer was not happy with that situation. They had thought long and hard about the lot that they wanted, and they were a little perturbed about that. But what had happened was it was a corner lot, okay? And the corner lots have easements on the front and easements on the side. What is an easement? An easement is where especially if it's a utility easement, that means like Spectrum, AT&T cable can come and dig in your yard in the area of the easement to put a cable in. Okay. Gas company can do that if it's in their easement. So typically it's 5 to 10 feet off of the front of the lot that they can have this quote easement where they can come onto your property and do stuff. Okay. And you may say, how the heck can they do that? Well, here in Texas, that's what they can do. So you cannot build in an easement. You can't put a building in an easement. And so therefore, this home was 6 inches into one of the easements. It was the side easement. It's a really big one-story floor plan, beautiful floor plan, but it's wide. It's a wide home. So you got to make sure that you can actually put it on the right lot. And so that's something to ask, and double check with the builder. Hey, do you know for sure that this home can fit on this lot? Hey, can you give me some documentation to show me for sure before we sign if this can fit on this lot? So you don't go through some of that frustration where you've picked the lot, you really thought about it, you're like, oh, the sun is this way, we're facing north or south or whatever we're doing. I want this lot. Oh, darn, we can't do that lot. So just to help you with the frustrations, make sure you know. Now, if it's a two-story, typically like a two-story is not going to be as wide. It's definitely not going to be as long. But when you have a one-story and it's say 3,000 square feet, when it gets up in square footage, you got to put it somewhere. Here's the other thing. Every lot has a part of the lot called the building pad, okay? The building pad is where the actual foundation can go because they've done something. I don't know the exact technology or technical terms, but they have prepared the dirt on the building pad part of the lot to hold the foundation. So the whole yard, I mean, the whole lot is not prepared for that. It can't handle the weight like the building pad part of the lot. I know it's getting a little technical, but just know every lot has a building pad part of it that the home can go on. Okay. Hmm. Gonna get some water just in case I get choked up. So that's number two. Number two, oh, what could possibly go wrong? And how about this one? So you go under contract on a home, and it's a woman who just lost her husband, bless her heart, and needs to sell the home. So we go under contract, and then we find out the husband had two children, estranged, but still two children. And guess what? They had rights to the proceeds, okay, because there was no will specifying that the proceeds went to the wife. Terrible situation for I felt so terrible for her because she was expecting all of the proceeds. So, then they had to find these people. Title company had to find them. They were nowhere to be found, okay? So, they were searching high and low. They were on social media. They were going everywhere, coast to coast to try to find these heirs. And lo and behold, they finally found them. I think we even extended closing. I think we extended closing to make this happen because we could not close until we found these people. They had to be found. You can't just I mean, you have to be able to tie all the loose ends. So was definitely a loose end. And so they found them. One was in Florida, one was in California. So we had 4 mobile closings for this deal. We had the Florida, the California, we had Oregon, and we had the seller who was somewhere not in her own home. She had already moved out. So yeah, that was a crazy deal. And it's kind of nail biter because we did not know if we were going to find them. I mean, they were sending messages on Facebook saying, "We've got money for you if you are so and so. If you're really this person, please respond because we're going to give you some cash." So they finally found them, and so that was a really interesting situation. Okay, so what about you are under contract. You are selling your home. Yay, you got a buyer, you're under contract, you're going towards closing. Usually it's 30 days if you got a loan involved. Okay. But what if something breaks in your home during that time? You know, you're going to sell it, they signed a contract, but something breaks. It could be minor, maybe some little thing, barely noticeable to anybody. Does your seller have to fix it? What do you think the answer is? Yes, your seller has to fix it because that home needs to be exactly how the home inspector found it when their home inspector came and found it. And if there were items that were going to be repaired after the home inspection, they have to stay repaired after the home inspection all the way through closing. And normally, buyers do a final walkthrough the day of closing to make sure everything is still the way it was, to make sure that there's now no hole in a wall that wasn't there before. And, even if and this is in the contract, even if let's say a fire happens, a hailstorm happens, whatever happens, that seller is supposed to make that home whole before the buyer buys it. That's part of the contract. So yeah, they do have to fix it. And by the way, there are home warranty companies that offer seller protection during listing and closing to the seller. And it's very inexpensive. And it is actually, I think, could end up being free if they don't choose that same warranty company. But you can contact me about that if you're a seller looking for some kind of protection to mitigate, some. And it doesn't cover huge things, but it does cover some minor things. I think up to like $1,500. So I'm just trying to think of something small. Small, sprinkler breaks, AC, some little thing happens and you need a little coverage. You can do that. But yes, you do have to have it fixed. Yes, you do, because it's yours until it's not. It's yours until everything is, funds are dispersed and everything is conveyed over to the buyer. It's still yours, seller. You got to take care of it. Okay. So and I know I've got I did hopefully still hear a man or woman, I don't know, Amar Chirka. If you're still there, let me know if you've heard of any crazy situations, that maybe I can talk about. So here's another one. So you have a client that contracts with a builder. They go to the design center, they pick out upgrades, they put maybe, $100,000 in, and 8 months into it, 8 months into the job, the builder says, "Oh, now you gotta pay us another $75,000. You gotta deposit another 75,000 for us to continue, and we don't know what the bottom line dollar is gonna be when we close. We don't know what the final cost of your home is going to be. We don't know. We don't know, but we still want you to stay in this contract." What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, I can think of a million things, and that's part of my job as a realtor is to troubleshoot and think about how to protect my clients. So my first thought on this was, I mean, they could go up to who knows what cost on the house. And you're in a contract and you're bound to it. How does that work? And or you could get out. And if you get out, you get all your money back. So that's what they did. They actually they backed out of the contract. They got all their earnest money back, all the deposits back, and then we went and found them an even better house. And that was during the COVID time, 2020, 2021, when builders were having issues with materials and costs were going up and things like that. So even so, my thought on that, okay, is do not punish my client who has been in a contract with you for 8 months. You make up your money on the other side. You make up your money with new people walking in the door, okay? Not my client who signed on the dotted line. Yes, I can understand some escalation clause, but that's ridiculous. Okay? That's ridiculous to say we don't even know what it's going to cost. So that taught me to ask that question to a builder that, what is your escalation clause and is there a cap on it? How does that work? And even if they say, "Oh, we've never used it before." No, find out what it is, okay? Let's find out what it is because anything could happen. What could possibly go wrong, right? That could go wrong. That did go wrong. But then it went right because we found them a much better house and they absolutely love it. So it was great. So here's another one. You see an email from the title company to wire your funds to close for your home. You send $350,000 to the title company. Title company says, "We never got it." What? We never got it? Yeah, so wire fraud. And anytime I have a conversation, a substantive conversation in real estate, I send out my wire fraud advisory and my information about brokerage services. So the wire fraud advisory is basically explaining wire fraud is rampant. It is huge, and it has been huge for a long time. But that actually happened to someone where they went off of an email and the website that they went to, they thought it was a title company, and they thought everything was it looked exactly the same as the emails they had been getting from the title company. However, the URL had one letter different or something like that. It was very small, tiny difference, okay? And it was fraud. They never saw that money again. It was gone. Poof, gone. Amazing, right? Scary, tragic. I mean, can't even imagine. So this is what you do. You never go off of an email when you're wiring funds. You actually call the title company. You talk to someone you know is at the title company that you know for sure that they are who they are. Okay. You talk to them, you get the wiring instructions. Now, some title companies have a portal, a secure portal, but you still want to verify, hey, is this right? I want to make sure everything's right. Okay. And I even had a client do a test wire. It kind of threw the title company off because they sent like a $10 test wire because they do wires all the time in their business. And the title company, when money comes in, they just match numbers together. So they saw this $10 come in and they had no idea where it was supposed to be applied to. So they're like, what are we doing? But it got all worked out, but they did that to make sure that they were sending it to the actual title company, that they had the right wire. So be very, very careful when you are wiring funds. It is a scary, scary thing when you are sending big deposits and you are not sure. You just got to make sure that you're sending it to the right place. So here's another one. Seller calls and they cannot get into their home. What could possibly have gone wrong? So what went wrong? All right. Seller, the house is listed and seller calls me and says, "We can't get in our home. We're locked out." I'm like, how are you locked out?" "Oh, well, we gave you the only set of keys we had because we normally use the keypad. And I guess I think something had happened with that." So note to self, sellers, always make an extra set of keys for yourself. Also, make sure you have your garage door key because when we put in the MLS, lock all doors, turn off all lights, some people go ahead and lock the garage door. Even if you say don't lock the garage door, they might do that. So make sure that you take a set of keys for every door in your home. Make sure you have one. Make sure your listing agent has one to put in the box so everybody's got the same and nobody gets locked out. I think they had to go get a locksmith to get in their own home. It was crazy. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, and in that same house, Yeah, so we closed on that house, and the buyers were headed straight over to the house after we closed, and I went back after we closed to pick up my sign, and I see people trying to no, actually, I came and I think I gave them some I knocked on the door, and they said, "Yeah, we just had some people, actually come by, and they wanted to come in the home," and I said, "What?" And they had actually come to the wrong door. They were trying to get into and no, wait, I think the agent called me, and she said, "We couldn't get the keys, there were no keys in the lockbox." I said, "That's because the home has sold, and the buyers have the keys." And then I talked to the buyers, and they said, "Yeah, someone was trying to get in our home." Said, "Oh my gosh, can you imagine how scary that was? That they had someone fidgeting with their door right after they bought the home." That is so scary. So, just be careful, agents, when you're out there. Just make sure you are going into the right address. Make sure you have the right address. So, yeah, that was not fun for the new buyers. I felt bad for them. Okay, then we have a couple more. This was my very first deal. Okay, so this is my very first deal when this happened. My very first deal was with the Catholic Diocese of Fort Worth. I was running around with a Polish priest with a ponytail, and they were looking for a house for the priest. And my client was actually the Catholic Diocese of Fort Worth, and but my person I was driving around with was this guy. So we were at a home, and we were in the garage, and I don't know why he was doing this, I can't remember, but he just reached up and tried to pull the garage door down, and he almost broke it. He almost broke it. I was about to have to pay for a garage door or garage door opener, and that was crazy because I just make sure that you are if you're gonna try to do something manual on a garage door that there's like a lock or something on it, you take that off, you make sure it's unchained or whatever, so you don't mess it up. Make sure you don't do that. Oh, and here's another good one. New Year's Eve 2020. And if my client watches this, she's gonna laugh. New Year's Eve 2020, appointment at 1 o'clock at the title company. Okay. We get there, client, my buyers, and myself, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, still waiting. 3 o'clock, get in a room, conference room, thinking we're about to close. Still nothing. We're talking to the lender. Lender says, "We've sent all the docs over to the title company. We don't know why this is taking so long. We don't understand." My clients are like, "It is 3 o'clock on the last day of the year. Are we going to close in fun? Are we going to be able to get in our house today? We've got AT&T coming. We've got stuff happening. What is going on?" And so found out that the lender was sending all the documents to an email, and someone at the title company was not monitoring that email that whole time. That whole time. So they were blaming the lender, and the lender was like, "I've been sending it. I've been sending it and sending it and sending it and sending it." And so finally we got it worked out. And it was probably about 5 o'clock. And I asked the attorney of the title company, I said, "This is going to fund today, isn't it?" And he goes, "Yes, it's going to fund." I said, "It better fund because we did not do any of this. You guys did." You guys did. Lender didn't do this. It was a great lender, veteran. I think it's VA Veterans of America, great lender, and so I got to give her all the credit that she is due on that deal. Um, Here's one that happens all the time. I have never done this because I know what possibly could go wrong. Oh, I'll just give the lockbox code to my buyer. I trust them. They can go without me. No, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Don't ask your agent to let you do that. Okay, because nobody needs to do that. You just never know. They could go in there, break something. They could steal something. They could, something. All kinds of things could happen. When an agent is with you, their license number is on the line. They're going to be more apt to watch what's going on and watch their client. Maybe they don't know this client very well. Maybe they're not best friends or anything. Maybe they just met. They don't know this person. You want to make sure there is that trail leading back to the agent to monitor that activity that they go in there. You go in there with them. Okay. Make sure you always do that. So that's all I can think of right now. I mean, there's plenty that could happen in the middle of a deal, and that's one thing I want to point out. There's no way I could possibly go over all the scenarios that could happen when you are closing on a deal, when you are under contract and you're moving towards closing. All kinds of things can happen. Things can come up in the inspection report. Things come up in title when they open title, what we call open title. When they start researching title, that's when the title company actually says, That's when the soap opera begins, okay? Because all kinds of craziness happens. You would not believe some of the stuff they have found on title that they had no idea was there, and that's why sometimes when they open title and the seller title asks the seller to fill out a very detailed seller information sheet. The reason they do that is because of what might come up on that seller's title that isn't theirs. We have had um, child support liens, tax liens, all kinds of stuff that the name was similar, but not exactly. And they just the title escrow officer told me basically they just try to stick it on somebody's property that's close to the right name. And it's not even the same person. Social security numbers don't match or anything, but they still stick it on there. Well, it's the title company's job to clear that off of the seller so that they can convey a clear title to the buyer and get that off their back. Sometimes they have no idea that stuff is there until they do this title work. So it's extremely important to get a title policy, a title insurance policy. If you ever have someone advise you, don't run, okay? Run the other way. You never know what can come up on that title. And if you do not research it and you don't get the title insurance to make sure it's clear, I mean, good luck to you. That's what I have to say. It is so worth the money. That title policy is so worth it. I would say over and over and over again, don't ever not do that. No matter how small the piece of property is, you just don't know what is behind or underneath it or the chain of title. You don't know what's clouding it, if anything, but you want to make sure it's clear when you are trying to buy it. Okay. And when you're trying to sell it, because then you find out somebody tried to put some stuff on you that wasn't even yours. So I hope this helped you. And my goal is to have another regular video out next week. But you guys have kept me busy, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be working with so many people that have gotten in touch with me that have found me here on this channel. And if you're thinking about it and you're not sure if you want to, come on, give me a call. Give me a call. I don't bite, and I do have a lot of great information. And I love helping my clients find their dream home, their next home, or the home that they are looking for. I have a lot of knowledge. I know a lot of builders, and I'm excited. I'm excited every time I get to go out and help people look for homes and help them sell their home if that's what they need to do as well. So until next time, and when you come into town, I hope to show you around.